The SmartPort Supersonic blow-off valve here from Turbosmart is available for any 13 or newer 3.5 EcoBoost owner who might be looking to increase their boost levels for a higher performance either up to or past 30 psi, since the factory blow-off valve really can't handle much more than it already does now. Now with that said, if you're looking to increase your boost levels for a better performance, you'll also pick up a better throttle response with this option and maybe even a small increase in fuel economy. Now as far as installation goes, we'll be talking about that later on, but I'll tell you up front here, it'll get a very simple 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, even though you will have to remove your factory intercooler, but honestly, it's detailed all in the instruction manual. In a nutshell, for basically the guys out there who are new to turbos and don't really understand a blow-off valve, this will basically release excess boost that builds up in your intake and blow it off when you release the throttle. Now the factory one can really only hold so much, which is basically the 12 or 14 psi that it comes with. This will hold up to or even past 30 psi without cracking or leaking. As opposed to the factory electronic valve, this blow-off valve from Turbosmart utilizes a SmartPort technology which basically handles your boost quicker. Now this particular tech refers to the manufacturing process that uses all aircraft-grade aluminum alloys and specialized coatings to make the piston lighter and faster for what Turbosmart calls razor-sharp valve responses. The use of a soft spring in the body of the blow-off valve will increase the valve speeds, but more importantly prevent any compression surge which can inhibit its performance. It also prevents any premature venting of the added boost, which increases performance of the drive-by-wire, better known as the throttle response. You'll notice on the top of the blow-off valve there's a dial for softer or harder tuning, which basically refers to the internal spring of the blow-off valve. Softness or hardness obviously depends on the amount of boost pressure you're running. If you have high boost and don't have the proper amount of hardness, it can definitely lead to valve leakage. So you want to mess around with that and obviously speak with your tuner depending on how much boost you're running at the time. As you can probably already deduce from this particular technology, Turbosmart has this at the premium end of the spectrum. Now, currently there's only 2 options on the site for your 3.5 EcoBoost of this generation, so this is going to be the more technologically advanced option coming in just north of the $300 mark, so something to keep in mind when you're shopping around. As far as the installation is concerned, as I mentioned earlier, I am giving it a 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Now, this isn't the most difficult install, but it does require you to remove the intercooler. However, the instruction manual provided for you in the kit should take you along your way, and it even includes an install DVD, which is also in the box for you. With that said, you should have a ratchet and socket set on deck with about 2 hours worth of time in the driveway at home. First thing you want to do is remove the factory map sensor, which is attached to the intake plenum with a single bolt. From there, you'll have to assemble the new map sensor adapter and install it to the intake plenum, making sure the O-ring is secure. Once you plug in the map sensor back into the new adapter we installed in the plenum, you'll have to remove the under tray underneath the truck by pulling off the push pins holding that together. From there, it's just a matter of removing the OEM blow-off valve plug and then removing the bolts holding the cross member on to gain access to the intercooler. You'll have to remove the OEM blow-off valve chamber from the OEM plumb back hose. Replace it with the one in the kit and blank off the plug. Once that's taken care of, you can drop off the intercooler and remove the factory blow-off valve by the 2 bolts holding it to the chamber. Install the intercooler adapter plug, making sure the O-ring is secured, and then the L bracket comes next without over-tightening. Finally, the Turbosmart SmartPort Supersonic blow-off valve using the V-clamp, install all of that. And before reinstallation of everything we've taken off during this process, you want to make sure you're blanking off the OEM blow-off valve plug. Once that's taken care of, you can start to reinstall everything, making sure that you have the intercooler bolted up properly, the cross member that we took off to gain access to it, and then the under tray putting up those push pins. From there, you're good to go. Just to wrap things up, if you're the owner of a 2013 or newer 3.5 EcoBoost powered F150, you might want to check out the Turbosmart SmartPort Supersonic blow-off valve. If you're thinking about going upwards of 30 psi or more, you can find it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.